On tonight's programme, the chair of the WRU tells us the professional game can't survive with 4 regions. We take an in-depth look at the state of Welsh rugby. Plus, if you're travelling for Christmas, the latest advice ahead of the Great Getaway. And we're behind the scenes of a practically perfect performance of Mary Poppins. Hello, good evening. I'm Mike Griffiths. The chair of the Welsh Rugby Union insists that the game here can only afford 3 professional teams instead of the 4 it has at the moment. In an exclusive interview with ITV, Richard Collier-Keywood says other nations have overtaken Wales due to a lack of investment in player development over the past 10 years. Well, our sports reporter Matt Southcombe sat down with him to discuss the plans to cut the number of sides.
This isn't going to transform the fortunes of the regions overnight. It feels like a lot of pain for potentially progress in the mid to long term, but it's not going to do something straight away. It feels like a lot of pain for that.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on that. I mean, it certainly feels like a lot of pain. I understand that, and it's not our intention to cause pain. But I think everyone agrees that the status quo really is not an option if you want to see Welsh rugby improve.
Why is the Dragons' seeming survival a non-negotiable in this deal when, for the best part of 2 decades, they have had no success on the field?
So it's not a non-negotiable part of this deal?
Come on. There's a licence in the East. There is only one club who can feasibly go for that licence. We can't take fans for mugs here. We need to be straight with them.
So I am being straight. We have 3 licences. We've come up with that. That's our preferred way forward. 1 in the capital, 1 in the west and 1 in the east. It is quite possible that in getting to those licences, the different clubs may choose to combine forces. So the Dragons' survival is absolutely not guaranteed.
How can you also then be comfortable with potentially losing professional rugby in Wales's second biggest city in Swansea?
So I wouldn't say we're comfortable with that at all. And if that is a result of the West licence going one way rather than the other way, then we would want to work with Swansea to make sure that professional rugby continued in Swansea in a variety of different ways.
What ways could that be?
So we have an under-20s side, we have a women's team, we have SRC teams that under the new proposals we would say we would want to promote further and to make them better. So there's a variety of options there.
The criticism of yourself and of Dave Reddin has been, you were not born and raised in Wales, you don't live here. How can you possibly understand the impact of the decisions that you're making on the communities that will be most affected by them?
Okay, so Dave Reddin is a brilliant elite performance expert, and that's why we've hired him. He works in the context of a board of, I think, 11 Welsh people. So I think you can be very sure that that board will make sure that Dave understands the implications of any proposals he brings to the board.
Are you concerned that more of Wales's top players could leave whilst there is still so much uncertainty in the game?
Yes, I'm very concerned by that. I think uncertainty is harmful to the clubs particularly, but also to our national side, because the move of players outside Wales, frankly, is not helpful from a national perspective either.
But do you feel responsible for that in some way?
Yes, I do. Totally responsible for that. And I think, you're probably going to ask me about Derry Lake and Jack Morgan next, I would imagine. And I'm really sad that they've decided to move to Gloucester. That would not have been, what we'd have wanted for them. My goal is to reduce that uncertainty, but I can't reduce it in a way that just means the status quo continues, because otherwise we've just wasted our time.
Well, Matt joins me now. Matt, you've been following this story very closely. It's been an intensely frustrating time to be a fan. Where do we go from here?
Well, Mike, the WRU always said they wanted to do this by consent by the end of the year. So that would involve clubs merging or one potentially putting their hand up for the chop. Now, obviously, that's probably not going to happen, and we've only got a week left of this year. So in January, they've always said that they would then go out to a tender process. That involves an independent body basically adjudicating on the cases for each region to survive. So you then got an outside body making a decision over who stays and who goes. Now that is likely to be a long process, and it could get quite messy. We'd be unlikely to hear a final decision in that situation before the start of next season. So there is so much that is uncertain about Welsh rugby heading into the new year. And there's more on this story in a special half-hour documentary. Laughingstock, The Collapse of Welsh Rugby, is available right now on ITVX.
Well, Matt, thank you. It's been a very interesting watch, and we'll talk to you about it again. Thank you. To other news, and a man has pleaded not guilty to the murder of a 22-year-old who died after being taken to hospital after suffering a number of injuries near Pontypridd. Liam Wolford from Porth died after an incident in Rhyd-y-Felin in the early hours of September the 23rd. Jake Staples, who's 24, entered a not guilty plea to murder at Cardiff Crown Court this morning. 3 co-defendants also appeared and denied attempted murder. The former leader of the British National Party, Nick Griffin, has appeared in court, accused of stirring up racial hatred on social media. Mr Griffin, who's 66 and from Welshpool in Powys, is accused of sharing a threatening, abusive or insulting cartoon on the platform X in 2021. It's part of a private prosecution by the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism. He appeared at Southwark Crown Court via video link and was told by the judge to attend the court for another hearing in April. Now, the M4 around Newport is expected to be one of the busiest roads in the UK this week. It says more than 3 million people are set to make Christmas journeys today, according to the RAC. It predicts that more journeys will be made this month than in any other December since its records began. Beth Thomas sent this report from the South Wales Traffic Management Centre in Cardiff.
Well, it's the most wonderful time of the year for some, but for many of us, it's the busiest time of the year as we travel back to see our family and friends this Christmas. In fact, motoring companies are expecting a record 37.5 million journeys on the road in the run-up to the 25th. Now, you can see on the cameras behind me, the roads aren't looking particularly busy at the moment, but the busiest day is expected to be Christmas Eve, with the RAC expecting around 4 million journeys that day. Now, here with me to talk about just how busy the roads are going to be is Gareth Price at the Traffic Management Centre here in Cardiff. So, Gareth, for those of us travelling back to see our family and friends in the run-up to Christmas, what can we expect on the roads?
So we can expect the traffic to be picking up, particularly on Christmas Eve from about 10 o'clock in the morning. We're expecting the M4 around Newport, around the Bringlass tunnels to be particularly busy, and the junctions on the M4 that lead to Cardiff and Swansea. So yes, we would advise people take plenty of time for their journey to get to see their loved ones this Christmas.
And we can see the roads behind us here. So what do you do at the Traffic Management Centre to monitor the traffic on the roads at this time of year?
Yeah, so there's traffic management cameras that feed into the control room here. The staff work really hard to monitor those cameras. The Traffic Wales website shows those cameras as well, so people can use those for journey planning. And the staff here, as I say, work really hard to send the appropriate response to any incidents so we can keep the network moving for people to get away this festive period.
So, Gareth, is there any advice for those of us who are travelling back to see our family and friends this Christmas? When's the best time to travel?
Set off as early as you can to make the most of the network being a little bit quieter before the traffic really picks up. Journey planning is really essential. Track the Traffic Wales website, follow us on social media as well. There's plenty of information there. So, but also look at your vehicle. Just make sure it's ready for that journey. Make sure the tyres are in good condition. You have plenty of fuel in your vehicle and charge in your battery if required. And all those tips will help you have a smooth journey so you can see your loved ones this festive period.
Thank you very much, Gareth. So there you have it. As Gareth said, the best time to travel is early on Christmas Eve. Make sure your car is ready to go to avoid any stress. And in the meantime, look forward to the festive period.
Now, it's a film many of us have been brought up with and it brought joy to children all over the world. Mary Poppins will be likely to be on many of our TV screens over the coming days. Well, the stage adaptation of the Disney classic is currently on at the Wales Millennium Centre and it's promising all the magic and the legendary songs of the original, with more than a spoonful of sugar along the way. We sent Caddy Gwyn Edwards along to see.
Magical, colourful and practically perfect, Mary Poppins the musical has flown into the capital, bringing a beloved classic to life for a whole new generation.
It's just this incredible well-known, nostalgic story that is such a privilege to be telling on stage 20 years after it debuted.
Mary Poppins tells the story of a magical nanny who uses adventure to teach the bank's children and their preoccupied parents about finding joy in everyday life.
It's a beautiful story about a family just trying to get back on the tracks of communicating and loving each other well, and I think that's something we can all relate to.
And helping Mary along the way is cheerful jack of all trades, Bert.
As Bert, I get to also teach some lessons and sprinkle a little bit of chimney sweep magic along the way. But it's such a beautiful show. It's such a spectacle. But I think what surprises a lot of people is how much heart the show has.
And it's not just the performances that are full of heart, but the production too, with intricate sets flying on and off the stage.
It is really magical. It's like a storybook opening up. The way the house moves forward and opens up and spins, and it truly is quite magical. I remember the first time I saw it, it sort of took my breath away.
Well, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, and the team here hope that their show will go down in the most delightful way. Could you give us your rendition of supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
I can even do you one better. I can say it backwards, which is suicodelia zexiligar philocrepus.
That's amazing. From toe-tapping tunes to literal toe-tapping tap dancing, Mary Poppins the Musical brings imagination to life. Caddy Gwyn-Edwards, ITV News in Cardiff.
Wonderful. Well, let's take a look at the weather now with the details. Here's Ruth.
Outbreaks of ancient sites will gradually settle into an evening of pizza plates al fresco. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Hello there, very good evening to you. Weather-wise, it's been a pretty decent start to the new week. It's been largely dry out there. If a little on the grey and gloomy side, we could see a few showers through tonight and into tomorrow morning. But after that, as we head into the Christmas period, things will settle down. High pressure will dominate the weather story, which means largely dry conditions. And as a result, it's not likely to be a white Christmas, but the temperatures will certainly start to feel just a little bit cooler. And through Christmas Eve, Christmas Day in particular, we could also see some very strong winds developing, making it feel even colder still, and frosty conditions by night too. So that's the general setup. In the meantime, it's chilly out there, but we've got an awful lot of cloud, lots of low-lying, misty, murky conditions. And we've also got a few showers, as I mentioned. And some of these showers could be on the sharp side, but they will rattle through quite quickly. So I think you probably won't even notice them. Just be careful on the road, so if you are out and about overnight tonight. General lows of 7 or 8, so chilly, but it should be frost-free. Not a particularly bright start then to tomorrow morning. Again, that low cloud mist and murk will stubbornly persist, and we could see a further few showers just working their way in. But actually, through the course of Tuesday morning, these will tend to disappear, heading back out into the Irish Sea. So a largely dry day. I think in terms of sunshine, we could see some breaks in the cloud out towards western areas. The cloud and the gloom, though, persisting through inland areas. So here, feeling just a little bit cooler. Highs of 7 or 8, 9 or 10 if you do catch some blue sky and sunshine. Now, if you're heading out and about then through Tuesday night, wrap up would be my advice, because under clear skies with a slightly more easterly airflow developing, the temperatures will feel quite chilly, and we could see some frosty conditions as we wake then to the start of Christmas Eve. But on the whole, it's shaping up to be a really decent day. Varying amounts of cloud, but hopefully we'll see some breaks, allowing a little bit of sunshine, possibly quite a bright day as the day wears on. But temperatures on Christmas Eve will look at this quite a significant drop, and that's because of the easterly airflow, at best just 5 or 6 degrees. And as we head through then into Christmas Day, it's not only going to be chilly, but we'll also see those winds developing quite strong, making it feel even colder still. I'll see you a little bit later. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Well, thanks to Ruth there. Thank you for joining us this Monday evening. I'll have your headlines a little later on at 10:15. I hope to see you then. But from all of us here, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.